Hi guys, welcome back to our building block city. And of course, today we start off at the airport, which is quite cool because it just fit for purpose and literally is just brilliant for our building block city. It's a Lego set, slightly remarked the plane, as you can see. Basically changed the tail end as well as added in one more minifig to as a passenger in this particular plane. Just made a little more sense, a little more of an efficient use of space. And then of course there's the inner workings of the airport, and then that immediately takes us to the hotel, the adjacent hotel. Makes sense. When you have visitors coming in, whether it be connecting flights or people want to come to your little building block city as tourists, well, you need to have a hotel to accommodate them, and that's exactly what this is. This is our hotel. Next to the hotel is the apartment building, and there you can see Emmett and Lucy from the Lego movie, and they live in the apartment building. And there's a little baby in a carriage that seems to be doing silly things in its carriage. This yet leads us straight into the rest of the residential area with houses that we've mocked. It's my own creation ultimately. So these are houses that are originally built, ideas that we had in coming up with these particular houses. I think that's quite cool. This takes us through the entire residential area, which then leads next to the one new mock that we've added to our city, and that is, of course, the school that we have built, which is, from Lego. And for those of you that might not be familiar, the term mock means my own creation. So that's something that we creatively came up with. This way, just behind the residential area, we're obviously going to the rest of the city. That's the hospital with a helicopter atop and the paramedic, the helicopter paramedic with the doctors in the hospital. Just need to fill up the hospital with the rest of its equipment. But there's also a nurse at the bottom pushing a patient in a wheelchair that seems to have gotten slightly hurt. And then here's our paramedic in the ambulance, ready for action. But for the moment, blocked by a traditional South African taxi. For South Africans, I'm sure you're familiar with that particular design. This is the police station right next to it, with the helicopter on top of it as well. As you can see, we are a very very helicopter heavy city, with a couple of police officers. There's a jail, and I'm sure if we look closely, you'd be able to see one or two thugs stuck in the jail. But nonetheless, there's the jail. It's a mixture of, I think, an Enlightened set as well as Lego to make up that particular police station. Next to that is of course the takeaway portion of our city. We have a KFC. This was originally a KEC according to Sambo, but we've remarked it to a KFC, and because ultimately that's what it was meant to be. There's the McDonald's next to it, and then moving across is of course the supermarket chain Checkers in South Africa. This was a set where if you bought groceries to a particular value, you would get the little set, which included your little aisles with the groceries stickers, as well as the minifigs and all the little items that you would typically find in a supermarket. So that's there. Of course, this leads us to the garage next door, or the petrol station. That's the Octane set that I spoke about the last time. It was still brand spanking new with our last video, with the little SUV, the little blue SUV next to it. And then that takes us to the Ferrari F40 that's next to it. That's also part of the Lego series, as you know, Speed Champions. And just to bring your attention across to this side, where we have this little Porsche mock. Very proud of that one. This year was off of a YouTube channel called PT Bird, who makes really awesome mocks of cars, and that's where we got that particular mock from. But over here we have this really cool Ford pickup truck, which we've remocked into a tow truck, and that is also off of the PT Bird YouTube channel that we got that one from. So that is ultimately what our city looks like at the moment. I think it's quite cool. It's coming together quite nicely. Just a couple of things missing, including road base plates for that back section close to the wall, where you see the train over there. But I'm pretty sure that that's something that we can sort out in no time. But beyond that, let's go on to a bit of a train ride around the city just to show you what the rest of the city looks like. So that is ultimately the view that the train gives you of the Lego City as it goes around. And I hope you enjoyed that particular view because I think it gives you quite a comprehensive feel for what the city looks like, feels like, and what goes into it. And that's what happens as the train loops around the city. That also gives you the best view of the fire station on the other end, as you're well aware, as well as the coffee shop. I hope that you got a good glimpse of that as the train did its circuit and went around the city. Obviously, this train is we're very proud of it, we're extremely excited about it. But I think just to go back to what Batman and Superman are getting up to, they obviously atop the tallest building, the skyscraper, which is obviously headed by. This is a very progressive city headed by a female CEO. And then as you move down, there's the board of directors that have met or that are meeting and discussing all kinds of interesting plans for 24-hour bank. And the various people working throughout the various levels of this particular bank, all the way down. And then just as a little secret hidden spot, there's also a Chinese restaurant, a restaurant where you can get some really good Chinese food. That is slightly hidden there, sort of wedged in between the fire station and the police station, as well as the KFC and the tall building. But that's everything that's happening in the city. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour. And we'll try to do a lot more of these. Obviously, there's a story behind each and every single one of these buildings, and I'm sure you want to hear them. So we'll be telling you the various stories behind each and every single one of them for you. I mean, all the way through from this mock of the school and how that idea came about, which is actually quite interesting, all the way through to the houses, the various cars throughout the city, the way the city has been laid out. Not as easy as you think it may be, considering that we try to save up on as much space as possible, but simultaneously make it entertaining and as beautiful as possible. And also a space where the kids can play. Believe me, it's a lot of work trying to fix this Lego city on a regular basis, considering that the children do play with it and minifigures go missing, Lego pieces go missing, and the latest fad is to have the Avengers do their thing in the city, so you can imagine the carnage after that. And the city was rebuilt after my son, who's now 6, decided one glorious day that the city should be destroyed via earthquake. Believe me, that was quite a nightmare. I'll tell you that story as well. But cheers, like, click, subscribe, share with your friends. And yeah, at BB Comics, we like everything geeky, and including Lego and building blocks and putting together these little fantasy cities. Cheers.